Welcome to Business Insight on Souk News, the platform for entrepreneurs, investors, and decision makers. This is where we share deeper information on the business landscape, enabling us to make informed decisions and stay ahead of the competition in a rapidly evolving global economy. I am Ola Oluwawe. Let's get to updates in different businesses, including market trends, industry development, and emerging opportunities. Stay tuned. Once again, welcome back to Business Insight. This is the business news. Some commercial motorcycles in Ogun State are in disagreement with their unions, namely the Amalgamated Commercial Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association of Nigeria, Riders and Owners of Motorcycle Organizations, and Articulated Motorcycle and Riders Association of Nigeria over a proposed increase in the ticket fee. Okada riders in certain areas of the state, including Ibafu, Magboro, Asheshe, and Arekpo, have rejected the introduction of a new 100 Naira ticket called the Maker Ticket, which is believed to have been initiated by individuals associated with the unions. Currently, the riders pay 600 Naira for daily tickets, but with the addition of the Maker Ticket, the total daily cost would rise to 700 Naira. This has led to discontent among the riders, who claim that the unions conspired with some area boys to forcibly impose the new ticket, making worse their already challenging situation. When contacted, the chairman of Akomaran, Folorunsho Balogun, acknowledged the ticket fee increment and clarified that a directive to raise the fees came from the local government chairman. He said the unions were not involved in the alleged harassment of riders by area boys regarding the new tickets. Away from that, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has issued a warning about the sale of an unhealthy Whippy Real mayonnaise in Nigeria after a consumer complaint prompted NAFDAC's post-marketing surveillance unit in Ilorin, Kwara State, to investigate the matter. According to NAFDAC's Director General, Mojisola Adeyeye, NAFDAC's analysis revealed that the product was rancid and had an unusual color. The implicated batches, manufactured in June 2022 by SNF Foods Limited in Onitsha, are to be promptly submitted to NAFDAC for disposal and investigation. Consumers are warned to exercise caution and report to the nearest NAFDAC office any adverse reaction. It serves as a critical reminder for manufacturers and distributors to prioritize and adhere strictly to food safety standards and regulations to avert any potential health hazards in the marketplace. Now, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has revealed that its members are currently facing high energy costs, with spending ranging from 35 to 40% of their total expenses on energy needs. According to MAN's President Francis Meshere, any increase in energy costs such as electricity tariff or fuel prices directly impact manufacturers' overall expenses, adding that high energy costs pose a significant challenge, particularly for industries that consume large amounts of energy, like steel manufacturers. He emphasized that any increase in electricity tariff can lead to higher production costs, which in turn affects the consumers and reduces demand for products. Consequently, profit margins become lower, leading to reduced tax revenue for the government. And Unilever Nigeria PLC has published its unaudited results for the second quarter of 2023, revealing a significant decline in pre-tax profits by 72.95%, amounting to 169.9 million naira. The results were impacted by the 22.79% increase in the inflation rate in June 2023, which led to rising cost of goods and services affecting both businesses and consumers. Despite the inflationary pressure, Unilever's revenue for the quarter increased by 27.31% to 29.60 billion naira compared to 23.25 billion naira recorded in the same period last year. The revenue growth was primarily driven by the company's main business segment, food products and home and personal care. Food products generated a revenue of 14.72 billion naira in the quarter, representing a significant increase from 10.43 billion naira in the same period last year. Similarly, revenue from home and personal care products reached 14.88 billion naira compared to the 12.81 billion naira in the same quarter of the previous year. Key highlights from the financial report include the increase in cash flow for the half year ended June 30, 2023, amounting to 82.73 billion naira, representing a growth of 30.53% from 63.38 billion naira recorded in the same period last year. Now, with the completion of the Ibom maintenance, repair and overhaul MRO facilities, the Nigerian aviation sector has the potential to reduce the estimated 1 billion naira spent annually on aircraft maintenance outside the country and reduce the foreign exchange pressure on indigenous airlines. According to the Chief Operating Officer of Ibom Air, Mr. George Uriesi, he said that this development could be a game changer for Nigeria's aviation industry, offering access to world-class maintenance services within the country and saving valuable foreign exchange reserves and boosting the economy. The move towards domesticating aircraft maintenance and training in Nigeria aligns with the call for greater self-sufficiency and a reduced dependence on foreign countries for essential aviation services. It could foster a stronger aviation ecosystem within the country, encouraging more investment in the industry and contributing to the growth of the Nigerian economy. Now, music streaming app Spotify experienced a significant 12.5% decline in its stock during the trading session yesterday, despite a nearly 11% year-over-year increase in revenues to 3.17 billion euros, slightly below street estimates. The market's reaction turned negative. The revenue growth was driven by an 11% rise in premium revenues and a 12% increase in ad-supported revenue, with premium revenue seeing a 14% growth in constant currency and ad-supported revenue growing by 15%. Despite the positive news of a 27% surge in monthly active users to 551 million and a substantial 17% increase in premium subscribers to 220 million, the miss on second quarter revenues and downbeat guidance overshadowed these gains. Additionally, concerns persist about the company's challenging margins in quarterly reports. Spotify's guidance for the third quarter fell short of expectations, projecting revenues of 3.3 billion euros compared to an expected 3.4 billion euros. The company's adjusted gross margin for the second quarter stood at 25.5%. That brings us to the stock markets. We start with the Nigerian Stock Exchange. At the end of trading session on Tuesday, July 25th, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NGX, recorded a total of 553 million shares in 8,313 deals. The total value of these transactions amounted to 7.4 billion naira. Compared to the previous trading day, there was a decline in the volume of shares traded by 33%, and the total value of the transactions dropped by 43%, and a 15% decrease in the number of deals made. As of now, the combined value of all the companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 35.9 trillion naira. 117 company stocks were traded and 32 companies experienced gains, while 30 companies faced losses. The top gainers was Ikeja Hotel, whose share price increased by 10%, closing at 2.97 naira per share, followed by FTN Cocoa Processors, 10%, Seplat Petroleum Development Co., 9.99%, and Skyway Aviation Handling Co., 9.83%. On the other hand, Conoil saw the most decline with a price drop of 10%, ending at 101.25 naira per share, alongside Learn Africa 10%, John Holt 9.96%, and Multiverse Mining and Exploration 9.88%. In trading volume, Jopol Gold and Ventures had the highest number of shares traded, with a total of 72.5 million shares changing hands. Guarantee Trust Holding followed closely with 45.1 million shares traded, while United Bank for Africa recorded 43.2 million shares traded. Zenith Bank had 36.3 million shares traded. Still in Africa, on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, ZSE, it was a total of 3.9 million shares were recorded in terms of what was bought and sold, with a combined market value of 2.6 billion Zimbabwean dollars. When compared to the previous trading day, on Monday, July 24, there was a significant improvement in both the volume of shares traded, which increased by 116%. And the total value of transactions, which saw a remarkable 120% improvement. Currently, the total value of all the companies listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is 9.99 trillion Zimbabwean dollars. Similarly, at the close of trade on the Malawi Stock Exchange, MSE, a total of 1.2 million shares were traded, representing a remarkable 685% improvement in trade volume compared to the previous trading day. Additionally, the total value of the transactions amounted to 88.7 million kwacha, showing a substantial 500% improvement in turnover. The current market capitalization of the Malawi Stock Exchange stands at 6.05 trillion Malawian kwacha. Moving away from Africa to the U.S. Stock Exchange, the latest update on NASDAQ 100 index, a market index that includes the 100 largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, is currently at 15,568.42 points. It has increased by 120.40 points, or 0.78% from its previous value. Still in the U.S., the Russell 2000 index is a stock market index that includes 2,000 small-cap companies listed on the Russell 3000 index. It is currently at 1,982.60 points. It has increased by 5.70 points, which is equivalent to a 0.29% increase from its previous value, indicating an upward trend. Now let's switch gears to the European stocks, where DAX 40 index, a market index that represents 40 largest and most liquid companies listed on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange in Germany, is currently at 16,212.66 points. That shows an increase of 21.71 points, which is equivalent to a 0.13% increase from its previous value. Lastly, in stocks, FTSE 100 index, a stock market index that tracks the performance of the 100 largest companies listed on the London Stock Exchange in the United Kingdom, ended trading at 7,691.80 points, showing an increase of 13.21 points, or 0.17% from the previous measurement, signaling a positive movement in the market. Now let's get to the commodities market. We start with gold, where 1 troy ounce equals 31.1 grams. Currently, the price of gold is $1,964.43 US per troy ounce, while silver is priced at $24.69 US per troy ounce. In the energy sector, Brent crude oil is being sold at $83.31 US per barrel. In the global food market, cocoa is currently being traded at 3,321.75 British pounds per ton. And wheat is priced at $289.89 cent per ton. Away from that, the currency market report is here. Yeah, the currency market has experienced significant fluctuations at the start of the week. The Naira opened at 774.50 Naira for a dollar and saw a slight upward trend, closing at 792.04 Naira to a dollar. Presently, the Naira is valued at 875.34 Naira to a euro, and to acquire British pound, it will cost 1,021.10 Naira. Furthermore, the Naira is currently standing at 5.61 against the Japanese yen, and its exchange rate is 205.88 against the United Arab Emirates dirham. And that concludes the business news. I am Olaoluwa Awe. It's time to shed some light on the departmental store business in Nigeria. Stay tuned to Business Insight for this. Welcome back to Business Insight and Souk News. Once again, I am Olaoluwa Awe, and if you have ever been to a store in the area or a big store to get food items, cosmetics or groceries, then you'll be interested in this. The departmental store subsector in Nigeria is a big one, and that's what we'll be talking about today. Hopefully, we'll be talking with a departmental store owner to shed more light on how the business is run, the challenges, and how to make further progress. But before that, let's look into the history and development of departmental store businesses in Nigeria. Stay tuned.
Departmental stores, as we know today, are large retail establishments that offer a wide range of merchandise organized into multiple departments, providing customers with a diverse shopping experience under one roof. They carry a variety of products from different brands and often provide additional amenities and services to enhance the overall shopping experience. Departmental stores in Nigeria have a rich history, initially offering foreign goods. These stores quickly evolved to cater to local taste, providing a wide array of products from fashionable apparel to home furnishings. Pioneering the concept during the colonial era was the Kingsway Stores, established in 1948 by the United African Company, UAC. It blazed a trail as the first modern departmental store in British West Africa. In the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s, departmental stores played a significant role in transforming the shopping experience of Nigerians. These stores made it easier for consumers to find what they were looking for and increase product visibility. They were popular destinations for shoppers to access the latest fashion trends and find gifts for loved ones, while also serving as social gathering places for dining, window shopping, and meeting with friends. Some prominent departmental stores during this period were Kingsway Store, Domino Store, founded in 1964, and Levantis Stores, which started in 1965 and became a household name known for quality and affordable household commodities. As Nigeria's middle-class population grew, so did the product assortment of departmental stores. Recognizing the shifting consumer landscape, these retail giants diversified their offerings to include sporting goods and various household items, capturing the hearts of medium earners and high earners alike. However, economic policies and changing consumer behavior posed challenges in later years, affecting some departmental store brands. Several iconic stores faced hardships and were forced to downsize, close their doors, or transfer ownership. The rise of e-commerce and online shopping in the digital age further tested traditional departmental stores, compelling them to adapt to the digital revolution and offer innovative multi-channel shopping experiences. Amidst these challenges, some departmental stores have shown remarkable resilience. Initiatives to revitalize and modernize their operations have breathed new life into these historic establishments, keeping them relevant in today's competitive retail industry. It also calls for a need to periodically examine the current realities of the retail subsector.
Welcome back to Business Insights on SUK News. Hope you found that very insightful. You know, it's interesting to know that departmental stores in Nigeria, have been around since way back. And I remember my parents, talk about the Kingsway. In fact, there's even a bus stop around the part of Lagos where that was situated till today, even though the business is no longer around. But interestingly, we get to talk to someone currently running a departmental store in Nigeria. Meanwhile, departmental stores are in different sizes. We have the very big ones. We have the, small ones. Go to most streets and corners in Lagos and in other parts of Nigeria, you find one. People call them supermarkets, people call them stores. But then, Mr. Joseph Aniokoye is an entrepreneur and a departmental store owner in Nigeria. He's had over 5 years experience in running a departmental store business and managing one. So, Mr. Joseph Aniokoye, good morning. Okay, we'll get back to Mr. Joseph Aniokoye once he's ready for us. But I understand that he has a store somewhere in Apapa, Lagos, OGS store. But what are we going to be looking at today, really? Let me just run you through it, because we'll be talking about the changes that have happened in the departmental store business, especially in recent years. There have been a good number of changes there. We'll be talking about the role of the departmental store business in the retail landscape. Don't forget, it's just a small sector. It's a kind of a retail business. And, there are different types of retail businesses. And we'll also be looking at the strategies employed by these departmental store owners to sustain their business, to get customers. Because do you ever wonder, when you invest millions or billions of naira in setting up a departmental store, how do you get people to come in? There are a good number of tactics that I have seen, but hopefully when Joseph Aniokoye is back or is with us, we'll talk about all of that. So there are a good number of strategies around that we need to discuss. How do they also manage real estate? How do you get a place? Because you have to strategically, set up your place, from what I understand. How do you get that in the Lagos of today, in the Nigeria of today? How do you also manage the change that has happened to almost every major business in the world? That is the online space. We now have online businesses, online buying and selling, retail shops here and there. How do you incorporate that? How do you manage? If you see a departmental store that has managed to stay till today, then you know that something must have been done right. We also talk about the challenges. No business is easy. No business is without its risk. We'll talk about how lucrative this business is, and we'll talk even about how they manage the local artisans. How do they even get their products? They're different value chain in this line of work, and we also need to talk about that. We'll also talk about how to expand into the global markets. Every local business should be thinking of doing that. You see some departmental stores, they never leave one street. Whereas you see some, they start on one street, they move to 2 streets, they move across local governments, then they move across states. So how do you expand in that way? We'll talk about that today. Diversity and inclusion in retail. How do you do that? I remember there was a time when there was an argument in the global space about makeup products, how some brands are not inclusive in terms of the kind of products they have. Do they have products for Africans, people that are light-skinned, people that are dark-skinned? You see businesses now trying to, bring in certain innovation to accommodate different types of customers. Those are the things we're going to be talking about. We'll also be talking about the future of departmental stores in Nigeria. We have talked about the past. We are in the present. Of course, we need to know where departmental store business is going. Is it totally moving offline and moving offline? Yes, and moving online. Because like we have like a multi kind of markets where the online retail stores are operating side by side with the physical retail stores. These are some of the things that we'll be looking at. Hopefully, it will make a very insightful conversation today. One thing that we won't also leave out of this is navigating the economic challenges. The price of almost everything is going up. How do you keep your customers? How do you control price? What are the changes that have happened or that we've seen in the products that we even sell as a result of the changing economic dynamics? The price of everything is going up. How do you manage, the people that sell to you? How do you even fix price? Because you go to some departmental stores in Lagos are known for having cheaper prices. And I know there are strategies and techniques around that. So how do you keep your customers going? These are the things that we need to talk about today. I'm being told now that Joseph Anekwe has joined us via Zoom. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Once again, let me let you know that Joseph is an entrepreneur and a departmental store owner. His store is OGS and it's situated somewhere around Apapa in Lagos. How is business, Joseph? How is business today?
I would say fine. Business is going well. We are all in Nigeria and we know what is actually happening in Nigeria. But we thank God we're still in business, not folded up, still in business. So we give God all the glory.
Thank you very much. It's good to hear you say that with a smile on your face. I know that all fingers are not equal, so a good number of us are seeing different sides of Nigeria. But let's get to it. What do you think are the key milestones and transformations in the departmental store business over the years? The key changes that you have seen in the way we run this business in Nigeria just over the years.
Well, if I understand please can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so the question I asked is that what are the key notable changes or notable things that you can say about the departmental store business in Nigeria?
Is it generally or just pertaining to myself?
Generally, generally. You are in this line of work, so let's talk about this line of work. What are the things that you have seen, the changes that you have seen in this kind of business over the years?
Okay, generally, the government policy affects virtually everything, every aspect of the economy. So pertaining to us who are into departmental stores or supermarkets, as it were, the policy that is being, the policy the government has been making over the years, probably particularly to for me, since I opened in 2018 till now, the government policy has not really been favorable when it comes to, the pricing. Generally that affects virtually everything because first off, when you talk about the forex market as well, when the forex shoots up, it affects the import as well. Then when the petroleum of a thing goes high, the price for petroleum goes up again, it affects virtually everything. So when you talk about the price for goods that we sell in the market, the major factor that affects it over the years has been the forex. The forex generally, because when you probably go to market to source for other varieties, they keep on telling you dollar is high, diesel is this, petroleum is that, So, but in terms of the milestone or the changes, okay, that is on probably the disadvantage aspect that we've encountered over the years, but at least we still have some positivities as well, because all along with what we've been doing in the departmental stores generally in Nigeria has been to try to meet up with the world standard of how supermarkets are being managed all over the world. And it's really, 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 helping us in terms of getting more and more customers and also making more sales.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph, for that. A little wonder why, you see that over the years, some of the things you see in the departmental stores today, some 5 years, 10 years ago, cost way lower. My mother used to tell me about days when they bought things at Kingsway. Some of the things we buy for thousands of naira now were sold for just maybe kobos or 1 or 2 naira, not even up to 10 or 20 naira. But I get your point there. The economic realities and changes have affected the prices of products at departmental stores. Now, let's talk about how a departmental store is run. How do you, if, for people that want to go into this line of work, as you have, where do you even start from? Then what are the key things that you need to put in place for you to even run this business?
Okay, first and foremost, for any business, accessibility and the target customer is very key. So first off, you have to look at you've got to look at your target customers, then also look at the accessibility of the area in terms of road and what have you, road light, like social amenities, because those are key to opening any business. But when it comes to departmental store, that's for markets, we look at the area in question, our target customers. Then for people that really want to go into the business as a trade, after looking at these key areas of your target customer, then the social amenity then the social amenities as it were, there are other things you really need to put in place. There are other things you need to put in place,
You mentioned social amenities.
Can you hear me?
Now. I can hear you. You mentioned social amenities. Is that very important in situating your supermarket? Are you trying to say that before you even decide to situate your supermarket at a particular place, you need to check the infrastructure around, the road network, the location of the place, and will your target audience be able to find you in such a place? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. Because those are the key factors. Without those, you find out that you open a supermarket. You can open a supermarket anywhere, but the major importance of opening business for you to make sales and make money, But if these social amenities, the road networks, and others are not in place, I don't think your target audience will be able to find it easy to get across to you.
Okay, now let's talk about managing your store. I know that a good number of supermarkets, they compartmentalize. You have different departments and places for different types of products. How do you manage that? How do you decide where to put soap, where to put food items, and how do you manage your workers to ensure that they give the customers a very good experience?
Okay, another very important aspect of the business as it were is also man management, and we talk about trying to put people also into different departments as well.
I'm not sure the audio was quite clear. Could you say that again, please?
Can you hear me?
Not really. Please repeat
what you just said. Okay, I said another very important key to the success of the business is man management and the way the business is also arranged. The way the business is also arranged in terms of the products. Now, in my place, we have a software in terms of trying to organize the business. We have a software which we use, in arranging all our goods. We have a software which we use in arranging all our goods. Then my place is kind of a bit big. It's kind of a bit big. So the food items are actually in one place. That's when I mean food product, I mean beverages. The beverages are actually in a certain department. The cosmetics are actually situated in another. Likewise, alcohol and other alcohol beverages, soft drinks, they are all situated in different areas. Then we also have a pharmacy within the supermarket as well. The pharmacy is in an enclosed area within the supermarket, because the pharmacy is the temperature of the supermarket as a whole is always higher compared to that of the pharmacy. The pharmacy's temperature is much lower, because every drugs that we sell has to, temperature of most of the drugs we sell are controlled at a certain degrees of temperatures.
Is this a regulatory thing? Is this something that maybe the Pharmacy Association in Nigeria insists that you must do, or something that NAFDAC insists that you must do if you want to run a pharmacy within your departmental store?
Yes, if you look at most of the drugs, and look at their storage temperature, you find out that most of their storage temperatures, some are ambient, normal temperature, while some are supposed to be stored in a very cool environment. Most are supposed to be stored in a very cool environment. So the temperature of our pharmacy is quite different from that of the major hall for the supermarket. And the kind of people, we don't really allow people go into the pharmacy. I know that the more people enters into the hall of the supermarket, it tends to, the temperature of the hall tends to increase. I don't know if you get what I mean by that. Yeah, the temperature of the hall tends to increase, but the pharmacy, you have to just stay outside, then the guys inside will attend to you, give you whatever you want. Then in terms of the procedural arrangement, we have a software that manages all our products, starting from, that's when you talk about the sales management.
Okay. And what does this really help you with? What's the difference between managing your sales, managing your product arrangements with this software, and what we used to have in the past? Because what we used to have in the past is that you just come to the counter, you drop your goods, you pay cash, and somebody collects your cash and writes something down. But I know that for most departmental stores and supermarkets, things have changed. They all have a system, they have a software, they punch in. In fact, there's a scanner. They scan some of the products, and it displays on the system, and they do everything digitally. How has that helped? What has been the impact of that?
What I would just say to that is, I'm not going to really talk long on that, but the major importance and the major advantage of that over what we used to have in the past is the fact that your money is going to be intact. Your capital is going to be intact. Your profit is going to be intact. You're not going to have any loss at all. Even if you're going to have any loss in the business, it's going to be very, very minimal.
So let's talk about how lucrative this business is. Why did you decide to do the supermarket business, and how lucrative is this? I see people do this kind of business everywhere. There must be some good money in it.
Money is very everything, my dear sister. Money is really not everything. But for me personally, anybody that wants to go into business, of course, it's all about the money. But for me personally, the motivation towards me opening mine was just to provide employment opportunities for the vast unemployed youth in my area. When I used to work, most of the secondary school, most of the guys that just left secondary school in my area I used to have lots of them. because I do play ball with them in my church, in my street, So I used to be friends to lots of them, And at some point, I got tired of all this verse, find me something, now verse, find me something, because they had nothing doing. They literally had nothing doing, and if you don't look for something for them to do, most of them in the street will join bad gangs, So I looked at it and I knew that by opening that store, at least I should be pulling like 10 to 15 people out of the streets.
Now,
So that
since you
was the
started
major
this
motivating
business,
factor in me opening that.
thank you. Since you started this business in 2018 thereabouts, what has profit been like? Do you have a return on investment of up to 10%, 15%, 20% every year? What would you say your profit has been like?
Okay, for the first year, I think we were doing about 20 to 30 percent return of interest from 2018 to 2019. But during the COVID, these are products. These products we sell are products that are time bound in the sense that they have expiry dates. So during the COVID lockdown and what have you, we had a lot of losses. And since then, after the COVID,
Could you please say that again? I think there's an audio issue there. Could you say that again? You said since after the COVID-19, what has profit making been like? Oh, we didn't hear you clearly, Joseph, initially. But you said something about after the COVID-19 pandemic. Oh, I believe Joseph Anekwe has audio issues there, network issues. We're working with him to have that fixed. But it's really getting very interesting on Business Insight today. I just really want to know how lucrative this business is. But it's interesting, he said, before the COVID-19, he recorded up to 20% return on investments. Isn't that beautiful? That sounds very encouraging. We also need to talk about his relationship now with the artisans that he gets products from. How do you even get these products? How do you ensure that you keep having these products? Those are some of the questions we'll need Joseph to quickly answer once we have his audio issue sorted out, so that we can now talk about how he's leveraging on the social media. He did mention how going digital has helped a lot. He has a software that he has on his system that helps him to manage take inventories of his products, to arrange them well, to monitor his sales. Those are some of the developments that have happened over the years, as mentioned. And well, another major thing he talked about is infrastructure. It is very important that you situate your departmental store in a place with electricity, for instance, in a place with good road network. And electricity is very important because I have actually really seen a good number of departmental stores spend a lot of money on electricity. You need to keep it lit up. You can't afford to have a dark store. When people walk in, they want to have a good atmosphere. It has to be cold. For a good number of the products that you sell, they can't afford to be in a very hot environment. He did talk about how he has a pharmaceutical store within his own departmental store, and of course the temperature has to be at a particular room level. I know that is a thing. So these are some of the things that you need to, I believe he says we need to put into consideration before starting a departmental store business. I would have loved to know how much it costs to get a space. How difficult it is to get a space? Is it very easy to get a space? Some of the things that we also like to know. We are currently working with him to ensure that the network issues or the audio issues are sorted out. And yes, we'll talk about expansion. but he mentioned that he set up his own departmental store because he actually really wants to take people out of poverty, get them engaged. And he said he has been able to ensure that at least 15 to 20 people in his own immediate locality have been employed to his departmental store, which is also a thing. That's why we have businesses. Let's go back to the big departmental stores and the small ones that we have in Nigeria. We also need to address the issues. One of the major issues that customers seem to have with departmental stores is expired goods. We need to also, I have walked into a couple of stores and I've gotten products that will expire soon or have expired. This rarely happens, I must say. It's not something that happens every day. I must give it to the departmental stores in Nigeria, but we need to know how, you actually really take inventory of this products. Is there you mentioned the software. Do you point the manufacturing date of this product, the expiry date? Is there something that alerts you when this product is about to expire? We also need to talk about return policies. A good number of people go to departmental stores and say, okay, I buy something now, I go home, I discover that maybe I don't need it, or I mistakenly took something else or so, and I want to return. I know that a good number of departmental stores do not have a return policy where you can just pick in something and go and return it. So I understand that Joseph Anyekwe is back. Thank goodness. Welcome back, Joseph Anyekwe. Okay, so we're still working with him on that, I believe. I think he's gone off the radar again. Now, so we're talking about some of the challenges customers have with, these departmental stores. We talk about expired goods, return policy. You talk about customer care. I remember a departmental store that used to be popular some 5, 6, 7 years ago, because I remember I patronized that departmental store a lot when I was in the university, and they are really not as bright and as popular as they used to be. And one of the major things I noticed was the way the salespersons attend to their customers. Sometimes you pick a product, you go to the counter to pay, and the way they manage the queue could be very annoying. Some of them don't have a proper queue or people management system. So they just come and you practically have to stay wherever it is that you can. It's usually like a tug of war when you want to pay. It's whoever can shout the loudest. It's whoever is the smartest that will get to be attended to first before you go. But whereas we have some departmental stores that have a very same queue system where you stay on the queue and you're attended to in the order in which you came. So how do these people, do they smile to their customers? Do they talk to you nicely? I know some local street stores that, because of monopoly, because you go to some places in Lagos, whereas when you have the big ones, but they're not on every street. When you are staying within the streets, you have to rely on the smaller ones, and because they know that they are the only ones, you really have to abide by their rules. Some of these rules are not really customer friendly. So you talk to some of the salespersons, they talk to you anyhow. I never went back to that particular store, and it's not surprising to see that store is no longer doing well. So Joseph Anyekwe, welcome back. Joseph, welcome back. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Thank you very much.
So now that our time is fast spent, let's quickly address some issues that customers have with some stores. I have mentioned some of them. We're talking about the standard of the goods that you buy. Some people walk into some departmental stores, the goods are about to expire, some goods are expired. And how do you ensure that in running your store, customers don't have issues like that?
Okay, first and foremost, the way we buy our clothes, we get our product directly from the manufacturers. So, and we have, like I told you earlier, we have a software which we use in arranging and tracking all the products we have, even in terms of the expiry date of it. So, in order to avoid the issue of customers coming to our supermarket and seeing that products have expired or about to expire, the software we have helps us to automatically, beep us whenever goods are about to expire. Okay, we have a retention time for expiry product of 3 months. Whenever goods are about 3 months to expire, what we do is we pull them out from the counter. If goods are 3 months to expire, we'll pull them out of the counter. Then we'll find alternative ways to discard them, because
well,
getting a boost
one of these
and
alternative ways of discarding the products, does it include putting the products on sales? Because I see that in a good number of departmental stores. They just remove the products from the counter, they put it somewhere closer to where the customers pass by, and they slash the price, hopefully maybe to encourage people to quickly buy them and take them home. Is that a strategy that you also advise people to use?
And that's what we actually do. What we do is we take them away automatically from the counter. Then we bring them very close or closer to where the cashiers are. So about 70% so that we'll be able to push it out.
Okay, so one last question before we go. Let's quickly talk about this before we go. Customer service within the supermarket or the departmental store. How do you ensure you don't have salespersons that are not nice? Salespersons that don't talk to customers anyhow, and salespersons that also don't beg, because these are issues. How do you ensure that we tackle this?
First off, we make sure that in terms of remuneration, pay our staff, all our staff, they get paid very well, and even as at when due. So we have policy in our place, and which everything you stated now is among the policies. We don't beg from customers. We don't talk to customers anyhow, So these are our policies, and before you come into our place to start working, you must have signed some document. So if you have found one thing, at first we have to give orientation, we also have to train you. But if you have found one thing, we'll give you warning. Because if you have found one thing, we'll give you a warning. Then if the warning exceeds the limit expected, then we are sorry, we would have to let you go, because invariably it will be affecting our businesses.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Anekwe. How do you also prevent stealing of your products, from the departmental stores?
Okay, we have cameras situated at a very strategic point in the supermarket and even in the pharmacy. So we also have a manager, then we have a security personnel who is in charge of, monitoring the cameras as well. And the cameras are also on my phone. So what I do most times is at night, I go through all the records and see, it helps me to, see how the day-to-day activities, are being run. This is what I do every night, So in order to ensure that we keep, and that's one of the strategic things that has helped us to be in business, because stealing is one thing that kills business. Sincerely, stealing kills business. So, though we spent money in getting these apps, these cameras, and also the apps that allows me to view it on my phone personally, but it has also helped us to still be in business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Anekwe, entrepreneur and departmental store owner. We've come to the end of this program, but we'll continually touch on the departmental store business from time to time because there's still more to be said and done. But we appreciate you for your time on the program. And that's Business Insights for today. I hope you will enjoy that despite the technical issues and the audio issues. I hope you were able to pick 1 or 2, 3 things from the departmental store business in Nigeria. Join us tomorrow for another engaging edition. I am Olaoluwa Awe. Have a nice day.